where I really feel like it's very red. Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be doing a full review of the Dolce & Gabbana Nutri-Tint Skin Tint. So I've been trying out the skin tint for over a week now, and I definitely have my thoughts and I want to share that with you guys. The first thing I'm going to say obviously is that I'm not wearing anything on my skin right now because I do want to apply it with you on camera today so you can really see how it smooths out and how it looks and how it applies, blah blah. I will say though, just so you know, because you don't need to wait until the end, right? I actually really like the skin tint. I do think that there are a lot of qualities about the skin tint that feel really nice on this skin, like it's hydrating. There are a few things about the skin tint that I don't really love, but overall I do consider it a win. So when we review these foundations and skin tints, there's a couple categories that I really like to go in. So there's obviously the packaging, which is pretty important. There's the application, the color, and then also the most important thing for me is always the fact that it needs to be a Longwear-ish formula just because I have really long days. So we will be covering all of those different topics. Let's go ahead and dive right into packaging because that is something that is really interesting about the Dolce & Gabbana skin tint. It does come in a beautiful little gold box like this. I have the shade 11W Light Medium, which is actually perfect for me in the winter time. Mine looks a little bit grimy. Apologies, but obviously I've been using it all week, so it's a little covered in fingerprints. But very cute, very nice, squeezy tube, obviously very easy to travel with. The squeezy tube does get a little bit messy, as you can see with just what I have here. You can tell that that skin tint obviously does start to leak a little bit as you're using this, but not totally weird when it comes to squeezy tube skin tints or foundations. Now, let's talk about what's super annoying. Why does it not stand on its own? This is a really, really big pet peeve of mine. I don't like things that they fall over. I don't like it when, I don't know, it makes me a little bit nervous because in my head, I think that if it falls on its side, it's gonna leak out, or if there's a bubble at the top, it's gonna splatter and my makeup's gonna go everywhere. So I don't love that about the packaging, but again, I really do like how compact it is. And again, you guys know I love a squeezy too. Let's talk about application. I'm gonna go ahead and apply it with you guys right now. So this is a very, very thin formula. So this is one that is going to move around a lot. It actually kind of lends itself to being really nice because it means, I'm going to place this down real carefully here. It means that this is really easy to apply onto your skin. It does not take a lot of effort to buff it out. This is something that I would say is also fairly buildable in how thin it is because that way you can apply layers and layers and layers. Right now, I currently only just have a mattifying primer on my skin. You guys can probably guess which one I used, but I used the Fenty Beauty Skin Filter Primer. That one is still my favorite. I don't have anything underneath that. I don't have an extra layer of moisturizer because this one actually does moisturize decently well. And I just realized that I never actually read the official description to you guys, so we'll do that after this. But for me, what I can tell you right now is that it does go on very, very smoothly, but I would definitely say that the coverage for this one is very, very light. So in the description, they actually say take a few drops. And I was like, for who? Somebody who doesn't have any pigmentation on their skin? What is a few drops going to cover? So for me, I find myself using a little bit more of this product only just because I do have pores. I do have, discoloration. And so that just means for me that I really do need extra coverage, if that makes sense. So you can see that was just my first layer, and then with all of my skin tints, I always just take a second layer into my trouble zones where I just feel like I get really, really red, and then instead of smoothing that area out, I tend to just kind of tap it into my face, which you can see then that the coverage starts to really show up and my skin starts to look really even. So as you guys can see, it is a very smooth application. And the interesting thing about this product as well is that there is a little bit of a cooling sensation in this product. So as it kind of dries down on your face, it cools it down, which I think, I don't know, okay, it might be pseudoscience, but in my head, I think of it as more of a depuffing action, whereas it's really kind of helping get rid of some of that inflammation that's on my face. And as somebody who really likes salty foods, I tend to just be a little bit more on the puffy side. So I actually really like that about this foundation. Let me go ahead and put on the rest of my face and then we'll talk a little bit about that lasting power, and then I want to close with color. So we're gonna swapping around a little bit today in the order of things that we're talking about, but let's go ahead. Okay, so as you can see, all of the products sit beautifully on top of this skin tint. I do think whatever ingredient they have in here that really provides itself to smoothing out your skin is definitely true. Whether it's a powder product or a liquid product that's sitting on top of this, again, you can just see everything blurs out really, really nicely. So I actually just realized I forgot to add a little bit of powder bronzer, so I am going to apply that with you guys on screen so you can see how nicely it applies. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to lay over like the official description of this foundation so you guys can see like how Dolce really describes it. So the skin tint is infused with Italian blueberry and glycerol glucoside for hydration and radiance. Silicone-coated pure pigments ensure uniform buildable coverage, and it is designed for 24 hours of hydration. And it's meant to give you a healthy skin glow with buildable coverage and a blurring effect. I did not actually put any translucent powder down over my liquid bronzer to set everything. This is literally powder bronzer on top of skin tint plus liquid bronzer, and like look at how nice everything has just blended in. Like everything looks really, really fluid. I really like how this skin tint applies. From a lasting power perspective, this actually also impressed the shit out of me. I'm going to insert clips here. I actually did take videos of like my skin at the 4-hour mark, the 8-hour mark, and when I finished working out. And again, this skin tint just throughout the entire week that I've been testing it has really impressed me with its staying power. The 24-hour hydration thing, like, yeah, that's wonderful, whatever, great. My skin feels wonderful at the end of the day. What I want to know, is this going to come off patchy? Is it going to make my skin look weird? Is it going to be one of those things where I'm like, oh, holy crap, there's like literally a patch of pores right here that are just like bling at the end of the day. And I can tell you guys the skin tint actually does not do that. It does not wear off patchy at all. It wears off really, really well at the end of the day. It kind of just fades all over very evenly. And I think one of the reasons why it can do that is because it is such a thin skin tint. So I have noticed over time, it tends to be some of like the thicker skin tints when they're like really about like that buttery like feeling where it's just a little bit heavier on your skin, but like it feels very moisturizing. That's typically where I start to notice that you get some of that more of a patchy wear. And that is definitely something where like with the Vive skin tint, like that I do not consider a Longwear product because it does kind of come off that way. This one, if you're looking for something where you might be a little bit more on the oily side, but you want something thinner, a little bit more flexible, a little bit more Longwear, like I would definitely give the Dolce & Gabbana skin tint a try based on the lasting power. Like I was actually really impressed with this. And as you could probably see in that clip where I included my face after a workout and like intense like Chris Hemsworth training app workout, like everything still looks pretty good. So this really is a very nice product in terms of Longwear. Let's talk about color really quick because that is definitely something that I want to mention. If you are looking to purchase this, just recognize that with this product, the colors are a little bit interesting. So I would definitely say like what you think your color is gonna be and then go like down a shade, if that makes sense, in terms of like lighter, like a one lighter than you think you would normally be. I actually purchased this originally and we were going to do like a first impression, all that jazz about it. And then the color wound up literally like, I was like, oh God, this is Oompa Loompa Town. Like I cannot make this work, even though the color that I originally purchased, which was like a medium shade, I thought was like the correct one on the website. Definitely not a match. So would highly recommend, just as you're thinking about the colors, they do have a lot of different skin tones, a lot of different undertones as well. So I do think that you can find a match for you. Just be aware that as you're looking at it, try to go one lighter than what you would normally think. And then the last thing that I want to mention about this, which I very conveniently forgot to mention at the beginning, is that you do get 1 fluid ounce of product in this and it does retail for $52. So it is up there in price in terms of like skin tints and things like that. Like this is more obviously on like the Dior type of like luxury type makeup style, which I wouldn't expect any less honestly from Dolce & Gabbana. Like it's kind of right on brand for them. Again, I really like how compact this is. I like how Longwear it is. The fact that it doesn't stand up on its own drives me nuts. But other than that, like, I have to say this is a pretty cool product. I have not tried a skin tint before where it has that cooling effect, which I think is just really nice in the morning because again, I tend to wake up really, really puffy. And so this really just fits really well into kind of like what I'm looking for, particularly since I am more on the oily side. Like I do not have dry skin, okay? It is getting a little bit drier as I'm getting older, but I still consider myself like relatively oily. And this is a skin tint that provides hydration, but at the same time doesn't become an oil slick at the end of the day, doesn't wear off weird. And so this is actually one that I really fairly enjoy. I will say, of course, that I always use a setting spray with this as well. So the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray is what I always have on when I'm doing skin tints, just because, you know, a little bit of extra like keep it stuck to your face is always really nice, but those two together work beautifully. And that, my friends, pretty much wraps up this review. I actually really liked this skin tint. I would recommend it. The price point being a little bit higher than what I like, but performance-wise, like, really can't complain. So I have a bunch of other things from Dolce & Gabbana's line that I really want to try out. I actually purchased it during a couple of sales with Nordstrom, so looking forward to reviewing those with you guys on my channel eventually, planning it out for like the next couple of months here. So stay tuned if you are interested in hearing about the rest of their products in their line. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to like it, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and please feel free to follow us over on Instagram. And I will see you guys in next time's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.